Hi, everyone. This is Alan Lepofsky from Constellation Research, and I'm joined by my colleague.
Hi, everybody. Here's Holger Müller.
Hi. So Holger and I today want to quickly go over the Microsoft Envision Day 1 keynote. Now, some of you may have known that Holger and I were at Microsoft Build last week. That was in San Francisco, and it focused heavily on the developer community. Today's conference is taking place in New Orleans. Our manager, Ray Wong, is there live. Holger and I are at home, and we want to cover two topics today. In this video, we want to talk about conversations as a service, something Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, introduced last week. And today, he mentioned it again to this business CXO level audience. Holger, do you want to give us a quick overview of what your take is on conversation as a service?
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see because Microsoft for the longest time have been accused back to the 90s of following Bill Gates, embrace and extend, being a later follower, getting things right, not being at the cutting edge. This is the first time that I think Microsoft has been unveiling a software platform which has deep consequences for how we work together, but also the way how we build applications from a background perspective. So kudos for innovation and what we Build last and not announcing something which will come later in the year, but something where enterprises can build what they want to do as a conversation as a platform today. And by the way, quick disclaimer, I'm not at home, already in a hotel in San Francisco. I don't have curtains like this in my house.
Sorry, at a hotel. I am unfortunately in my office, and I did not set up my backdrop, so please ignore the mess. So let me quickly explain what a conversation as a service is to people this may be new to. Today, to share information, we go back and forth via a variety of platforms, email and chat and instant messaging, web conferencing, videos like what we're doing right now. Conversations as a service, the idea is that people, so us, humans, will be having interactions with electronic robots. And when I say robot, I don't mean, a big physical machine with arms and legs. We call them bots. And they're sort of automatic software that responds back to things that are taking place. Samara just made her debut on a video, great. So it's software that sort of responds back to the interaction of people. So say I'm in a Skype window and I ask a question, what is the stock value today? We get an automated response back. Now, those bots have been around for decades. We've been doing this in chat windows for a long time. But what's starting to happen is that the popularity of these in SMS clients and chat clients for doing all sorts of things, for financial transactions, buying things, sharing information with others. Today, in the examples, they showed us things like booking hotel rooms and things like that. So the general idea is that the conversation, your voice, your typing with a bot, is going to return work. Holger, what about the infrastructure for things like that? Like, what is that going to take for a company to think about?
Well, that's interesting thing about this, that it's not a new application. You can't use your traditional application anymore, but you have to build a voice recognition piece to understand this ideally, because typing should not be the platform. You have to have a big data enabled backend. You must have some understanding of machine learning and predictive analytics to know what your users chatting with you may want to do next about their location, what their preferences are. So it's a totally different paradigm to build these compute. No, that was the misunderstanding there. It gets a lot of compute, but the conversation as a platform applications.
Yeah. So I think, in summary, I think we're all sort of used to the fact that we walk around talking to our phones these days. Siri, show me this. Cortana, show me that. Google Now, what's the latest sports score? Imagine at work when we get to that same level of saying, Cortana, when was my next meeting coming up with Holger? Please book the travel for me. Make sure that the PowerPoint presentation is ready. All of these things that we're going to do interactively with these bots. And as Holger mentioned, it's intelligence, and it's the computing platform, and it's the natural language processing in the background. That's what makes these so different from when I cynically said, we've had bots for 20 years in chat. There's some major differences in the computing power and the artificial intelligence compared to what the original bots were doing. And I think there's a lot of excitement.
And disrupts the traditional app paradigm we've seen on smartphones, and coming with the conversion of Windows 10 enabling smartphones also to the desktop, right? Because you no longer need the UI in your form, in your existing piece. You have this UI in the conversation platform, like Skype, as I showed at both conferences, like in Office, like in email, like in any chat client, right? So it changes the way of what is needed from a user interface perspective dramatically. no more UI.
Right. So the new UI is no UI. That seems to be the common phrase that we've been discussing a lot lately. So like I said, when you pick up your phone and you talk to Cortana or Google Now or Siri or IBM Watson or whatever it happens to be, you don't start an application. You don't think about it. You don't start a weather app or a stock app. And in the future, you won't really, start a calendar app or a email application or anything. So you're just going to be interacting with those bots, and should be very interesting. And Holger, obviously you and I have quite different accents. Do you want to give a quick 2-second overview? I know you've been very impressed with how these actually handle your voice.
Yeah, for the longest time, speech recognition was very frustrating for me. Not only do I have a thick German accent, I also have a way of mumbling in a dark voice, which all don't help. But since spring last year, pretty much everybody, actually Microsoft has not officially stated, but Google and Apple with Google Now and Siri have all moved to neural networks, which are unique to the user. So when you say, hey Google, hey Siri, hey Cortana, it starts a neural network which learns explicitly what you're saying, what your preferences are, that I speak to it in German and English, and it works flawlessly. It's amazing how well that works. So congratulations to the vendors there.
Yeah, I should mention Microsoft recently acquired SwiftKey, which is a very good neural network input company. Most famous from most people know it from an Android keyboard, but as a company as a whole, they're really working on neural network input. So it could be voice, it could be type, it could be a bunch of things. So anyway, exciting stuff with Microsoft. I think the future of work clearly involves humans interacting with these bots, and we look forward to telling you more about it.
Right. And I think the important thing that Microsoft missed in New Orleans this morning is to show the more CXO audience that what they talked about conversational platform is not Gaga land somewhere in the future, but can be built right now, which ironically they showed last week to the developer audience. So I think they don't have to show the CXOs what can be done on the development side, but if you say, hey, if you go back, your people can start building, experimenting, doing something. I missed that message. Maybe it was me, or maybe Microsoft didn't bring it up.
No, you're very right. They were much clearer to the developer audience, but I guess at the higher level for today's business audience, so basically these APIs can look at vision, they can look at language, they can look at speech recognition, they can do all sorts of things. You don't have to go code them. Microsoft, and as well as their competitors, have sort of built these APIs for developers to build these, I'll coin your term, these next generation applications.
Even see how old you are, as we've tweeted about last week.
All right. Well, Holger and I look forward to your questions, and we are going to be covering this a lot this coming year. So, conversations as a platform. We look forward to talking to you more about it, and stay tuned for our other recap videos where we're going to talk about other topics from Build and Microsoft Envision conferences.
Thanks for watching.
Holger, say goodbye. Thanks
for watching. Bye-bye.